Okay, hey everyone, super important video here. There's a lot of terms being thrown around out there, like, diagnosis. And the only reason that these particular terms or labels are important is because you can really bark up the wrong tree and then become really discouraged because whatever it is that you're doing or practicing or reading about isn't really helping you to feel better. Okay, so there's something called an HSP, or a highly sensitive person. Now, a highly sensitive person is more sensitive to the environment. Typically, HSPs are introverts, so they need a lot of downtime, a lot of quiet. They're sensitive to loud noises or smells. Sounds, even tastes. Those types of nervous systems sometimes have more allergies or food sensitivities, those types of things. So if that's you, you just really need to learn how to look after your nervous system. Take lots of downtime, lots of time for rejuvenation, for rest, and really stay in tune with your window of tolerance. In other words, how long you can stay for a party. It doesn't mean you can't go. It just means you move in a different way and you really look after yourself. Okay, that's an HSP. And then we have an empath. An empath is like an HSP, but one step further. So not only is an empath sensitive to the people around them, but they actually absorb more like a sponge. They feel what other people are feeling. So their intuitive abilities are far sharper. So it's really easy to get wobbly and knocked off your path as an empath, because you have to really discern what's yours and what is somebody else's. So an empath can walk into a room and they're not just stimulated like an HSP. They can actually feel the emotional energy of the room. They can feel if it's up or it's down. They can feel certain people. And that's going to require a little bit of a different approach. Some empaths are introverts and some are extroverts. And so if this resonates with you, the practices and the tools that we use for healing and also for being able to move around in this world are a little bit different. So then we have the nervous system that has central sensitization. And these are often, there's a whole overlap in all of this, by the way. If you have chronic pain, sometimes you're an HSP or an empath, but you also might have central sensitization. And that is a ramping up, a revving up of the nervous system as a result of chronic pain that leads to kind of an over amplification of the pain signal, the signal of danger or threat in your body. And so with that, treating the chronic pain is going to be of primary importance. And a lot of the ways that I work with empaths and HSPs, I work with people with chronic pain, because we have to turn down the dial of stimulation and the threat signal in the body. Okay, one last thing. I saw a post that said, do you get really upset by loud noises? Are you overly sensitive to other people moving, eating, breathing? That's not HSP or empath, but it can be. That is a different condition called misophonia. And how do you know? Misophonics, when it's very particular what they get irritated by. It usually involves people that are close to them, like family members and friends. It's super, super difficult, because not only do they get irritated by certain sounds, they get downright angry and rageful. I once had a client who lived in an apartment building, and there was a little old granny living upstairs, and she would move her walker along the floor, and it made this kind of scraping sound that wasn't particularly loud. But this misophonic got attuned to it, and then she felt so guilty because she was so angry, like rageful at this other tenant, this little granny who she knew was really sweet. That is a neurological difficulty where the pathways in the brain actually they misfire. They've been crossed. So the stimulation pathways, weirdly for certain sounds, cross with the pathways of rage and anger. That's different. So obviously there is no cure for misophonia other than, noise canceling earplugs, just being really aware of yourself, being able to kind of manage your nervous system in stressful situations. So you can see how and why there's an overlap here and why it's important to really kind of distinguish them out. Now, if any of these sound like you, likely what you're going to do to feel better is often very similar. One thing I want to warn you against is not overdoing it, saying I'm just going to go and do this thing and expose myself. Typically, exposure, gradual exposure is a great idea, moving at the speed of safety in your nervous system, but throwing yourself out there typically doesn't work for an already revved up nervous system. It's gonna, if you got pain, it's gonna throw you into a flare up. One of the things I've been seeing lately are rage rooms, or people that, places where you go and you scream and you hit and you like get all your shit out and all that kind of stuff. I will tell you that that is not going to treat your anger issues. This is really important because I've had now clients that come back and two now that have said they've done this. And initially it felt really good because you're kind of high and you're like, crashing things around in the rage room and physically you feel good. And then they have a complete either shame spiral or a relapse into a totally sensitized nervous system. Because the women that I work with, when we work with anger, often the anger is something that comes with so much attached to it that you have to move through a lot to get there. And, and that takes some time. A lot of women can't right away even have a voice or scream or yell because it has been so buried, and blasting through that is not the answer. So I think you're getting the message here around overdoing it. The other side is avoidance altogether, staying home, not doing anything, don't want to stimulate myself, can't go to the mall because I'm an empath. That's not going to cut it either, because the smaller your world gets, the smaller your world gets. So slow, gradual exposure, moving at the safety of your nervous system is going to be the only sustainable approach. So I hope that's cleared up a lot of things for you. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. This is my thing. This is my area of expertise, and I've got some great free resources at the link posted for wherever you are. And I've also got an amazing class coming up called the Quantum Empath, and it's a monthly class that will happen each month, at the beginning of the month, and it's an immersion. So it'll give you all the tools right away to practice, probably for over the next few months, over the next year, to gradually challenge your nervous system in a healthy and sustainable way. All right, everyone, take care. Thanks for listening if you got this far, and maybe we will meet again.